Oh, hello all. Oh, we're in COVID lockdown here in New South Wales, and thanks, Pussy. I want to sit over there, so I'm bored out of my mind. So now I'll bore you. It's my pleasure to do it. I got my silly hat on. It's not as cute as Stunties, but it's getting there. I've always had an absolute fetish about Stylus and cartridges because really, you know, a good sturdy turntable with no wow or flutter, you're home and hose. So it's all down to the stylus and cartridge. So this is my Technics manual. Bought it in 1980. Still use it. I don't play records constantly. This turntable got an absolute belting for the first 10 years. Thorough workout. Then CDs came in the early 90s, so I started to I started to buy them in the 90s, and slowly the vinyl got edged out. Then I bought in the late 90s, the late 90s, I think. Mid to late 90s, the vinyl resurgence was starting to reappear. So for 5 years, I ran my backup turntable, Project 1.2. Good turntable, very, very basic. Very basic. All the instructions written in German, no English. Oh yes, there it is. But I ran this for 5 years, the project, my backup, and it's a great turntable. Very simple, belt driven. That was the only problem, because I play more 45s than I do 33s. And I love the Technics for the easy push button switch between 45 and 33 instead of have to lift the platter up and replace it. But this one, damn good. One of the earliest projects. Who would have thought they're going to become one of the monster successes? Took a punt on that one. I won't bother with. Well, it's my Rotel. I've had that since the early 90s, and then I'm also now. That's on one system. And then the other one, I'm running a Z series in this room, Myriad. A beautiful little United Kingdom Z series Myriad amp. Very beautiful neutral sound. Same with the Rotel. Nice, plenty of oomph if you need it, but basically neutral. I like neutral amps. I like all neutral, everything actually. Speakers a lot. They've got to be as neutral as possible. I've got to get to the real subject here, and just my Yamaha. This is a natural sound cassette deck, and I've got two natural sound CD players, which they're all from the early 90s. So basically my gear, apart from the Myriad, it's 30 to 40 years old. The Myriad's almost 10 years old. I've got my original Richter Merlin 1s on the other system. They're from the mid-90s. And I bought these Richter Merlin 4 bookshelf. They weigh a ton. They are so heavy. They are solid. They're made of jarrah wood, Western Australian hardwood. Man, these aren't made out of chipboard. No way, mate. They are solid amps. They're damn speakers. They put out a pretty big punch when necessary. I can't do that where I am. I don't do it anyway. You know, I've never been into super loud music. It's loud enough if necessary, if required. So I'm getting off point. A few things are essential. Make sure your turntable is level, so a little spirit level comes in handy. I've got a little round one sitting on my Technics, but this one's more, for carpenters use those. This is something I don't use very often, but I think everyone should keep one. A record clamp, a good solid record clamp. So if you do have a bit of a dodgy spindle hole and you love that record, but it's been played a lot and the hole's a bit too big, these things are invaluable. It really sticks it down. I used to use that when I was recording on the tape just to make sure that everything was solid, but I don't use it. I find I don't really need it, but it's there. That is a replacement arm for my Technics turntable that holds the clip holds the arm. I think within a week of buying this turntable, the Technics, 40 years ago, I had a wild party, and some bastard, while I was out of the room, tried to play a record, and they've literally ripped this out of its mounting. And this poor thing took a hiding from the first couple of weeks I got it. Another time I was having a party in Canberra, and someone knocked the actual turntable, knocked it off the table. It's a battleship. The Technics 1200 is a battleship. It's bulletproof. I love it dearly. This is my backup one. Always have a static brush. I'm not a great believer in cleaning records. I think if you buy them new, you never have to clean them. Never. You just use an anti-static brush every time you play it, and after, if you can remember. Also to pick up any debris. You don't need to clean them. Second hand's a different story. Okay, this is a real subject what I want to get on to. This is the original. They still go for an absolute bomb on eBay. It's upside down. I don't want to drop it out of the box. That's my original 680 EE Stanton. These were used in radio stations a lot. Very, very tough. What you got to realise also is that everyone mistakes and everyone thinks that the Technics SL1200 Mark II is a DJ turntable. It became one. It was originally it was an audiophile turntable. It is an audiophile turntable of its time. That's why it was brought back recently in a new improved form. The DJs cottoned onto it, but that was not what it was intended for. This is, apart from the bastards that did damage to it at parties I had, and one time, it's not this one, but one time, you can't get these replacement styluses anymore. The original, this is my collection of all my Stanton styluses I bought over 40 years. I probably have, probably 4 or 5 of the actual original elliptical styluses, Stanton. D680 long hair stylus, tracking force 3/4 to 1.5 grams. If you use it with the brush on, see the brush there? If you use it with the brush on, you add an extra gram. I take the brush off so I can run it on the 3/4 to 1.5 gram weight. Because if you use one of these, I don't see the point of having one there. They say it all helps. They say it helps to stabilise. It probably does, but I mean, it's such a solid turntable. I've got it on a solid bloody wood cabinet. No amount of vibration is going to happen, so I don't really need that extra stability. I've got oh, there's the price. 86 Australian dollars. That I bought that. That one would have been mid-80s in Canberra. $86 35 years ago was a fairly reasonable amount of money for a stylus. It's a fair bit. It's a lot. I mean, you know, you think about it. It's probably, you know, like $1,000 stylus today. But the funny thing was, when he went to buy a new cartridge, new cartridge with the stylus, it cost the same. So they sort of ripped you off once you bought the initial cartridge. Then every time you had to buy a replacement stylus, you still paid the same amount. But I've only ever used two. That one I just showed in its original box, I ran for about 5 years. And the one I've got in there now, I've run ever since. So I've got two of the Stanton cartridges there. You can't get them anymore. They went out of production years and years and years and years ago, which is very, very unfortunate because now you can only get copies. Oh, here's an even earlier one. This is probably the first one I ever bought. $80. That would have been the first one. They're elliptical, and the replacement ones, they sound fine. You know, the replacement stylus looks the same, but it's not the same because it's only a conical stylus, whereas the original is elliptical, which gets right down deep into the groove. So they're there in case I really want to do some taping and make sure I've got the very possible best sound. Just for general play, I'm reasonably happy with these replacement styluses. I hardly ever use my turntable or even my CD players, to be honest with you, because I'm just old. You know, I don't play music non-stop like I did decades ago, but it's such a pleasure when I actually put it on. And to finish up, before I left Sydney 11 years ago, I was paranoid out here that I wouldn't be able to get, you know, so I panicked and bought a Shure audiophile M97XE. So this is mint, never been used. I read the reviews. Some people rave about this, and others say it's no good. But I probably will never know because I've never used it and probably never will. But I just love, you know, the boxes they come in, and you know, this one. What I love about the Shure is they actually provide you with the, you know, all this sort of. It comes with a little tool kit and a little cleaning brush. It's really, I love them. I mean, if I was super, super rich and I had money to burn, I would just buy cartridges and styluses just to put in a display cabinet, because I used to love going into hi-fi shops and just staring at all the variations of, just fascinates me, you know. So yeah, I'll do that in a minute. So that's it. Oh dear, 1414. Yeah, well, sorry, but that's just the way it is at the moment here. Getting cabin fever, I am. Take care, all.